air frying 201 this time, and we're going to be talking about the do's and don'ts of air frying. Last week we talked about how an air fryer works and why you'd want to use one and how they're amazing. And then this week we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about the do's and don'ts of air frying. I did pull out both of my versions, the door version and the drawer version, so that I can kind of demonstrate a little bit how each one of these would work, because you know, a door version might not be in your budget, but a drawer version might be, or you might want to start with this one, or, you know, vice versa. But my name is Kristen, if you don't know, and I am a director with Pampered Chef. I'm also the lead teacher and owner of Mealtime Memories. I absolutely love what I do. I'm also a family health coach. So I cover all the bases in the food world. I just want people to enjoy their food, have healthy bodies and healthy minds, and have the best products in their kitchen at the same time. So let's talk a little bit about the do's and don'ts of air frying. So first of all, when you air fry, you absolutely don't let air frying, the name air frying, convince you that it can only do fried foods. It's not the case at all. Actually, an air fryer is a mini convection oven, which is what we talked about last week. So when you do proteins in here, yes, chicken and steak and pork and rotisserie chicken, the door one has like a rotisserie in it. You can just set a whole chicken in your drawer one if it's big enough and let it go. But you do want to flip your proteins. And to just like grilling, you wouldn't throw a piece of steak on the grill and just let it cook on one side the whole time, okay? So at the halfway point, you're gonna want to flip it, rotate it the other way, especially because it cooks from the top to the bottom in both of these. So it's gonna be cooking the top first, then you're gonna flip it, and then you're gonna cook the other side. So like a grill, the heat comes from the bottom, you're gonna flip it and grill it on the other side. So these guys, you absolutely wanna flip your proteins when you cook protein in an air fryer. When you do vegetables in an air fryer, so roasted vegetables, for Easter we did roasted Brussels sprouts. What you're going to want to do is you got to make sure that you toss your vegetables in a bowl separately before you put them in a air fryer. So a little bit of oil, just because it's air frying, oil still tastes good, and it still will add some value to your meal, add some depth to your meal. But you don't have to use a lot. That's what the great part is. You're not deep frying it. You're not covering it in oil. You're just coating. You're just tossing it in oil. So you're going to want to make sure that you can toss them in a bowl before you put them in your air fryer. Yes, we have a basket in here, but that doesn't mean you put your veggies in here and just pour oil over the top of it. You want like a nice light coating over the top of them. Also, you want to make sure that they're evenly distributed in either one of these, so either in your actual basket part or on a tray, okay? So after they're nice and evenly coated in oil, you're gonna nice and evenly coat them on your tray or in your basket as well. You can also add seasonings and whatnot too. It gives you the opportunity to do that when you're tossing them in oil. Air fryers do not like excess liquid. That's not to say oil, it's to say liquid. So I always recommend that you pat your foods dry before you put them in your air fryer as well. So if you have a piece of meat, like a piece of steak or something like that, then pat it dry, all those the moisture from the meat, before you put it in the air fryer. It'll just cook much more efficiently. Do the same thing with any vegetables before you put them in there. So say you washed, your Brussels sprouts, pat them dry before you toss them in oil to put them in your air fryer. So make sure you're patting your food dry. This goes for regular cooking too. This doesn't just go for air frying. This goes for things that you could do on your stovetop and in your oven. And I'm pointing that way because that's where my stuff is. Like I said too, a little fat does help. If you don't want to use oil, there are a couple other great substitutions that you can use as well in your recipes. You can actually try a little bit of honey. So if your recipe lends well to honey, it gives you that little bit of sugar content to caramelize things. You can also use, sugar in the honey also promotes the browning as well. So it'll give you a nice brown coating. It'll give you a nice intense flavor. And also you can use fruit preserves. So I actually really want to try a recipe where you take a pork tenderloin and you put fruit preserves on it. So it'll be nice and sweet. I feel like pork lends itself to being sweet, and then it browns it at the same time. So that a little fat does help. A little fat does go a long way. And if you don't want to use fat, there are other alternatives. Let's see. Oh, when you do, if you don't want to use like oil, like actually pouring oil on something, you can use the spray oil. I love, and I should grab it real quick, of course, the Pampered Chef Kitchen Spritzer. This guy's awesome because I can put whatever kind of oil I want in here. You pump it with air, so there's no aerosols, and you spray it on your food. So I love this because I can control exactly what goes in my body. But if you do buy like a store-bought spray, just make sure you're spraying it on the outside of your air fryer before you put it in your air fryer. Those sprays that you buy at the grocery store, on the trays and in the basket here, these, it will gunk them up. Okay, this one is non-stick. It'll absolutely ruin the non-stick. So you never want to spray directly in there if you do have an aerosol spray. Even with this guy, I don't spray directly in there. I always coat my food because you're supposed to cover your food, not necessarily coat what you're cooking in, okay? Goes for stovetop cooking as well. Spray your food, not your pan, okay? So that's that. If you are making a baked goods, you can always brush it with a little bit of egg wash. If you're doing like a pastry in the air fryer here, like a little hand pie, I like to put a little bit of egg wash on there, which is a mixture of egg and water to give it a little bit more browning and a little more crisp. Make sure you cut your food down to size and you don't overcrowd either the basket or the trays. That air needs to circulate, so if you overcrowd it, it's going to be cooked unevenly. And if you try to shove too much in there or stack too much in there, it's again not going to cook evenly and you're not going to be happy with the result. Another really cool thing, especially in a basket that you can do, is stacking your dinner. So you can put all of your vegetables or potatoes on the bottom and then put your protein right on top. You still will flip your protein midway because you want both sides cooked, but you can do all at one time in a basket. And if you have the trays, you can put protein on one tray and your veggies on the other, and just halfway you can rotate the trays and flip your meat and have a whole complete dinner ready for you without having to turn on the oven, which I love. So that is that. You can stack your proteins. Skin side up in an air fryer. So if you are doing something with skin on it, like a chicken, make sure the skin goes up, because what that does is it allows it to crisp up, obviously, but then also it kind of has the fat rendering around the outside of it. So the fat will come down around the outside of it and either drip into the drip tray or drip into the very bottom of your basket. And then you don't have to worry about all that extra fat. So skin side up, always skin side up. It just cooks better, tastes better, all that wonderful stuff. If you have a fattier chicken, like chicken thighs or chicken drumsticks, I'd also recommend poking a few holes in it, because that'll release even more natural fats and it'll coat that chicken, and it'll, again, render out that fat, but then also at the same time give it a nice browning effect. If you are doing fish in your air fryer, if you're doing in the basket, you're going to want to make like a foil sling, because fish is very delicate. And look at all these holes in the bottom. Okay, you don't want your fish sticking to that or falling through the holes. So you want to do a nice little foil sling that you'll put your fish in there, and then you can just lift it in and out and it'll be perfect for you. If you're doing it on trays, in this one specifically, no foil, parchment paper. So parchment paper in a door air fryer, foil sling in a drawer air fryer. Okay, parchment paper here, and that is very, very easy to buy. You can buy it in big long unwrapping sheets, like a roll of wrapping paper, or you can buy it in little individual sheets that you can cut down as well. So those are all of my air fryer do's. So let's look again at some don'ts for air frying. And I kind of covered these a little bit already, but avoid overfilling. Remember, the air fryer works by circulating that hot air, which can be limited if food is packed too tightly, and it'll steam it instead of crisp it. And air frying, the purpose of air frying is to crisp up your food and give you all those little great brown bits that we love, okay? Now remember, proteins shrink as they cook. So it is okay if they are kind of touching, and then because they shrink as they cook. So that's okay. Snug fit with meat is okay, but I would recommend other things that you give it room to breathe and move in there. Okay. Also remember I said about the nonstick spray. Don't spray directly in there. It'll gunk it up on you. And that goes for cooking too on the stovetop. Don't spray your pans. Spray your food instead. Okay, you want your food to be non-stick. Your pans are already non-stick, and that aerosol stuff will just gunk it up. Even if you have this, just make it a good habit of just spraying your food instead of the actual cooking device. Okay. And then lastly, don't use a wet batter or coating. It'll literally just fall off in the air fryer. That doesn't work in air fryers like this. Now you can bake things in here. I baked the cake, I baked muffins and things like that, but they end up in, it's not like I just put it on the tray. Like I put it in a non-stick pan and then put it in there. So those don't crisp the same way as a deep frying does, because that deep frying is a flash frying. This is a mini convection oven, okay? So it'll just fall off. So the batter that you want to use is a dredging technique. So you have flour, egg, breadcrumbs, okay? So you want to make sure that the dry is on the outside, but that flour and the egg will really help crisp it up. And then if you spray it with a little bit of nonstick spray or kitchen spritzer, you'll really get that real crispy coating. My kids absolutely love fried shrimp in an air fryer with that coating process and a little bit of olive oil spray on there. So if you're after a crunch, dredge your food in that process. Otherwise, wet batter will just drip right off, okay? Don't forget too that a air fryer, if you have a package of frozen food, you always want to reduce the temperature by 25 degrees and 20% less cook time, okay? I went over that in the last video too, but this, just a quick reminder that if you have packaged foods, 25% or 25 degrees less, 20% less cook time. And then, but a lot of foods are coming with actually directions for air frying on it now. So you don't even have to convert it because it's right on the package. But if it doesn't have it on the package, that is how you would convert it within your air fryer. Remember, air frying replaces 7 different things: an oven, a toaster oven, a deep fryer, a grill, a rotisserie, and a dehydrator. Holy cow. So this guy has prominent space in my kitchen for sure. This guy used to, but now this guy's twice the size, does twice the amount of food, which is better for my family of 4, especially because we love leftovers. Just had the best tasting leftovers for lunch today, actually. So, but there is Air Frying 201. It is so fun to find recipes for this. The Pampered Chef Deluxe Air Fryer actually comes with a wonderful cooking guide, which I should have right here by me. If I don't, then, just, it is what it is. Pampered, not perfect, right? I don't have it in my drawer. It must be upstairs because I used it recently. But it comes with some really great basics on how to do things like baked potatoes or your proteins or your veggies, a couple quick cakes and pies. It also comes with full color recipes. This, guys, the GoWiseUSA did come with a full cooking guide as well, which was really nice and surprising because that often isn't the case. So I definitely like this brand a lot if you want to go with a drawer air fryer. This one is not super heavy. It's probably no more than about 5 to 7 pounds, and it has nice carrying handles on the side. This guy is about the same weight, maybe a little bit heavier. It's a little clunkier, but a very good choice as well. So those are my recommendations for you for air frying. Next week, we are going to actually be talking about some awesome summertime products with Memorial Day coming up. I cannot believe it's almost Memorial Day. Like that, I know it's early this year, but it seems like, I don't know where May went. It was kind of crazy. So we're going to be talking about my top 5, at least 5, maybe more, 5 summer products that I love to use to keep on just a great lifestyle, great habits, and really easy things in the kitchen. So I hope you guys join me next week for episode, oh my gosh, it'll be episode, 5 next week? How exciting. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I gave you some really good tips about air frying. If you need an air fryer, I might know a girl, so make sure you reach out to me, and I can get you hooked up. All right, guys, see you later.